go straight into part 2. And the first reader. And the first person to have those 3 minutes is Mark Curtis. Continue on.
Thank you very much. Just bear with me a sec. There we go. Right, so 2 poems, and I'll race through these quickly. The first one is one of my own, an older one, called Global Warming. I chose this because it's a little now, and Dylan Thomas likes his little now, so a global warming. To see the truth, we must open our eyes. Ignorance is no excuse anymore. We can't keep ignoring our planet's cries. The sun will sizzle skin while oceans rise. Still some people ask what the fuss is for. To see the truth, we must open our eyes. Thunder booms, lightning slashes through the skies. We endure more storms than ever before. We can't keep ignoring our planet's cries. Each passing moment, another soul dies from curable disease, famine or war. To see the truth, we must open our eyes. Our behaviour is sadly no surprise, but we can change if love becomes our law. We can't keep ignoring our planet's cries. It is our children we will sacrifice if we don't get proactive and do more. To see the truth, we must open our eyes. We can't keep ignoring our planet's cries. Thank you. So that's raising awareness and getting a bit angry about the state of the world and like the need for change. But the poem I wrote for today is like when to rage and when not to rage, really. This probably comes under the more irreverent Dylan Thomas work you'll hear today. It may mean more for those of you who remember Frankie Goes to Hollywood. The title is If Dylan Thomas Met Frankie on the Way to Hollywood. Rage, rage against the dying of the light, Dylan Thomas urged. And Frankie say, rage hard, into the night, doing it right. But is it really doing it right to rage so incessantly? There are always things to rage and shout about, but those who are wise choose their fights carefully and know the importance of rest in between. A soul always raging will never find peace, no matter how many whiskey glasses it goes searching in. How can we enjoy the light while raging against its dying? If all we ever do is fight, how can we know anything of the peace we claim to be fighting for? We need to keep fighting the wrongs in our world, but take time to celebrate what's right. Frankie say, rage hard. Dylan Thomas say, rage, rage. Frankie say, relax. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Okay, and the next reader in Megaverse will be all the way from the back, so please start walking now, Dave Daggers. And people will look forward to it all the way.
It came to my attention recently that a brilliant songwriter renamed himself after Dylan Thomas. Does anyone know who that is? Well, actually, Bob Dylan did it as well, but this is actually about a guy called Bob Thomas, and it's called The Ballad of Bob Thomas. Oh, Bob Thomas, you changed your name the wrong way round, with your songs and lost poems from the other side of frown. You took your new name from our favourite Welsh poet, but you became Thomas, not Dylan. That's how you came to blow it. The times they are a-changing and you chose to change your name, but you picked the surname, not the Christian, and that's a bleeding shame. You could have been Bob Dylan, the legend of our times, but instead you wear Bob Thomas, the man with unheard rhymes. Come writer Bob Thomas, who prophesied with your pen, though they sink through the sea, they shall rise once again. And don't speak too soon, for the wheel's still in spin, for death shall have no dominion, for the loser now will be later to win. In the dying light you are raging. Oh, as I was young and easy in the mercy of his means, and admit what the water sounds like tambourines. The shades of their trees was the word of many shades. For Venus lies starstruck in her wound. You could have pulled lots of women and drunk like a fish, but time held you green and dying. The times they are a-changing, and you choose to change your name. But you pick the surname, not the Christian, and that's a bleeding shame. You could have been Bob Dylan, a legend of our times. But instead, you wear Bob Thomas, the man with unheard rhymes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave Daggers. Okay, next up we have going to have a story from Mr. Gareth Davies. So please welcome him to the mic.
A similar theme actually to Dave's. This is a story inspired by Dylan Thomas from when I was trying to be a writer in New York. There's a certain amount of truth to this. You can decide when it goes away from the truth, okay? So, New York hustled and... Oh, it's called New York Insomnia, by the way. Got to get it up. New York hustled and bustled in the way only New York can. Somehow less intense than London, less arrogant than Paris, and less manic than Rome. It did rush hour in a down-to-earth kind of way. I watched from my seat in the window as people went about their business in and around Grand Central Terminus. My coffee steamed up one patch of glass, my breath another, but in between I could still see the city going to work. I was working too, sort of. I had a pencil between my finger and thumb, and on my pad were words and phrases, linguistic snapshots of the unfolding drama of the everyday. Ha, who am I kidding? It was nothing really, just verbal diarrhea, writing for writing's sake to give me something to do in these early hours when by rights I should have been sleeping. Grand Central Terminus acted like a magnet to my insomnia, drawing me out of my bed and down into its bowels. What you writing there, buddy? That's a terrible American accent. If there's any Americans in, I'm really sorry for my very bad American accent. What you writing there, buddy? I'd been so absorbed by the streams of people that I hadn't noticed a man plonking himself down to me, an extra large latte giving him a milk moustache. Oh, nothing really, just jotting down a few thoughts, trying to write a poem, I said. Now there's an accent. Whereabouts you from? He asked, taking another sip of coffee. Wales, I said, not holding out much hope he would know or care where it was. Wow! He looked at me like I'd just said Venus or Mars or Atlantis or something. You're Welsh, like Dylan Thomas. I am, I nodded, although it was the first time I'd ever been likened to Dylan Thomas. And you're writing poetry like him too? I nodded, but again, the like him was very tenuous. Let me see! He snatched my pad off me and read the words out loud. I tried to stop him, but he wouldn't let me. I blushed profusely. Shall I do the poetry? Yeah, go on. Central Terminus, grand by name and by nature. Tramps sleep in the loos. New York, sleepless nights. Sun rises over the east, eggs sunny side up. Haiku, I like it. Hey, what's your name, buddy? Now, I don't know why I said this. I guess I was just caught up in the moment, or thought it would be funny, or thought I might make his day. Thomas Dylan. I put out my hand to shake his. Wow, Thomas Dylan, so pleased to meet you. His huge hand took mine and shook it with vigor. Listen, buddy, I gotta go to work, but we have to meet again, the man said, with tears in his eyes. Where are you staying? I told him the name of my hotel, but stopped short of giving him my room number. My name's Art, short for Arthur, like your king. It took me a while to realize he was talking about mythology. I'll give you a call, buddy, he said, and shook my hand again. By the evening, I'd forgotten all about my morning encounter. I'd been to John's Pizza, got well fed, drunk a few buds, and then wandered home through the weirdly deserted streets. The city that never sleeps was having a quick snooze off Fifth Avenue. When I got back to the hotel, I saw a large lump of a man and about 7 friends standing at the reception desk. Christ, he brought a posse of Dylan Thomas fans with him. He must have called, got no luck, and come down here for himself. Check again, I heard him say. I'm sorry, sir, but I don't know why the receptionist is English. I'm sorry, sir, but there's no Dylan Thomas staying here. I pressed the lift button repeatedly. It was on the 5th floor. I tried to hide in the bright lights of the hotel foyer. I stared at the lift, willing it to come. I pressed the button again. 4, 3, 2, ping, the doors open. "Hey, you!" he said, a massive paw on my shoulder. I turned round. I had some explaining to do. Thank you very much.